This episode of After Dark is brought to you by Shutterstock.com. For 25% off your new account, head on over to Shutterstock.com and use the promo code Gamebreaker10.
Gamebreaker TV.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to After Dark, the live call-in show where you guys call in and ask us questions. Today is October 29th. We are so close to Halloween. Can you guys guess what I'm dressed up as? I'm dressed up as the Grinch of Halloween. Did I do a good job? Did I do a good job? I thought ahead real hard on this one. Can you tell? I was ready. You guys want to see some people who were or are ready? Not even were. You guys are totally rocking, ready to go. You guys know them. You guys love them from xiv.com, freetoplay.tv, all over the place. One of our fellow hosts right here on After Dark. I'd say Mr. Mike Byrne, but I think I should just say chins up and then something else. I forget what the next line is. Mike Byrne.
Touche, sir. Welcome to After Dark. I love your Gary Gannon costume. It's fantastic.
I wish I'll have to get a V-neck to complete that
just a little bit. Just open it up a little bit. You will be fine. And
that's a lady.
Also, you guys know him.
Staying alive.
Kiggles, Mr. Zach Schultz. How's it going, man?
I'm good. I'm rocking the man cleavage.
Wow, that is some serious man cleavage there, sir.
That's
nice,
right. I'm 70s lore.
Yeah,
70s lore for your night.
not 90s lore, not lore back from Tank Spot days.
70s lore. We're going back in time.
Well, let's just get the show started now. We got some callers on the line. But before we do, we got a really good tweet that I think we should just get to make sure we don't really get to tweets as often as we like here on the show, just because we like to take as many calls as possible. But this one stood out to me, and Byrne, I think it stood out to you as well. You're the one who kind of posted it and brought it to my attention. But this first one comes in from Miguel Devora. He asks, is there a limit to how long a series can be milked for all it's worth? Good examples are Pokemon, Call of Duty, Final Fantasy, etc. I think the quick answer is no, because everybody's going to continue to ride that cash cow as long as they possibly can.
No, the answer is definitely no. Well, no, okay. Seriously, though, I think it's yes. And the cool part is we get to decide it, not the company. And it's simply stop buying it. That's when the cow will stop being milked, when there's no more money there. Until then, nope.
When will people stop buying Call of Duty 340? Like,
I don't know. I'm not a Call of Duty guy, so I'm the wrong guy to ask there.
Final Fantasy is the same thing.
I will tell you, when Final Fantasies continually disappoint me, it's you're going to have the odd title, the odd Pokemon title you didn't like out of the 50 that you play. The Final Fantasy is going to do the same thing. You may not be a fan of 13, but you really like 10, you really like 12, you really like 9, whatever the case may be.
What's wrong with you? Square Enix, you're on my last you're on your last legs with me. If Final Fantasy 15 doesn't blow me away, you're in trouble, Square. That's all I'm saying. I'm starting to draw the line. Stop milking that cash cow, Square.
Mike Shaftman is coming for you, Square. I mean, they built up goodwill for how many decades now? So they get a pass, Mike Shaftman. Chill out, okay? It's almost a gay holy holiday.
They had a good decade and then a bad decade. It is 2013. It is 2013. They stopped being good right around 2000.
We haven't talked about the most important thing, which is happening in about 41 minutes now.
What's that?
I believe it's a certain disco man's birthday.
Ooh.
27, 27. I can't believe I'm older than you, Shaftnit.
By 2 whole years.
All
Good
right.
sir. Take a
And
drink for that one.
stop asking
No, hang on.
for my phone number.
Is it your birthday? Is it birthday the 29th or is it the 30th? Is it your birthday yet for me
30th.
here?
No,
It's not your
not
birthday
for
even
you.
for you yet. You got another hour to go, sir. By the end of our
It's
show,
his
you will be
birthday
27.
for me, though.
It's
But
his
it's his
birthday
birthday
eve.
for me.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm
It's been my
already
birthday.
celebrating Kiggles' birthday.
Yes, obviously with the wig.
Yeah. all out drag on that one. So,
Oh,
I think that's you can only milk them for so long, but it's ultimately up to the consumers. When we stop buying them, is when they'll stop milking them.
God, this
And it also
hurts.
it also depends on the brand. I mean, come on. If there's like, as I said, if you build goodwill for as long as Final Fantasy has, and even if some of the games weren't spectacular, at least they were doing something different and it was visually appealing. To me, I'm gonna stop buying when a series kind of just it looks like they're phoning it in. And to me, at least, Final Fantasy doesn't look like they're phoning it in. At least in their platform games. Now their online games can be. We could discuss a little.
Don't piss a bitch off. I'll cut you.
Oh snap! Oh snap, girl!
All right, let's go ahead and take it to the callers here. This is a live call-in show, so we like to take your calls live. We got a caller on the line. Let's ask. Caller, you're on the line. Tell us your name. Tell us where you're from. Tell us your question. This is Gamebreaker After Dark.
Hi, this is Ryan from Connecticut, and I have a World of Warcraft question for you.
Shoot. We got
right,
the
so-
eve of BlizzCon week. Does that work? Can I say that? Does that maybe? I don't know. BlizzCon's coming up. World of Warcraft. Yay. What's your question?
All right, so on Legendary last week, you were talking about that hidden feature type thing, the going into an instance with normalizing the gear down to a lower level.
Mm-hmm.
And it got me thinking about two things. One is break out your legendaries, because if everything scales down, that means you can use them again in a low level content. It'll be fun. But then two is they revamped the recruiter friend, and it made me think, what if going down wasn't just so that 90s could play it again, but it was so that 90s could play it again with the friends that they recruited,
Okay.
instead of having to manage, a new character and stuff.
Sure. So I don't know, guys. Have you guys, Kiggles? You play a lot of World of Warcraft. Mike, you play. You haven't played in a while.
I
But you
resubbed
played.
this week.
Oh, all right. Well, excellent. Ready to get back into the swing of things when they announce their new expansion next week.
Exactly.
So we speculated this a little bit on this week's Legendary. We talked about how there might be a feature coming to the game that allows you to scale down your character. And this hit the real game. Pat Crane was able to pull this off. Characters got scaled down in old dungeons so that their characters were of the same level and could basically go through the experience of going through the dungeon at the proper level tuning. You guys aren't on Legendary, so real quick, gut impressions on that type of feature, as well as maybe address some of the concerns that the caller here had about that feature, about maybe being a feature that's able to be used for playing with new friends who are starting to play the game.
Right out of the gate, I like it from that aspect, of course. Being able to play with that friend that you just got to play and you've been playing for 6 years. That's a great plus for this type of feature. But let me ask you a question on how they do it. In Final Fantasy XIV, you don't have an option. Dungeons are a certain level, and when you go into it, you're scaled down to that level. Now, the drawback, at least in my opinion, in Final Fantasy XIV, is that it doesn't scale you back in power across the board. It scales you back on your actual level hard number, which means you lose abilities that are above that level, which I don't like. I don't like the idea of burning and working your way to max level and then being gimped when you go into other content intentionally. Pulled back on abilities. Do we have any clue how that's going to work, or the scale itself works?
We don't have any clue because it hasn't been officially announced. However, what we were able to actually interact with was just a statistical value change. They didn't take your level back. They dropped your health, they dropped your agility, they dropped your stamina, they dropped everything that really made you a level 90, but let you stay level 90. Now, we talked a little bit about potentially losing abilities and how that we didn't like that idea either. Yeah. But as it stands right now, it is just a statistical drop in character power.
Yeah, I'm all for it if you get like an 88 ability that does, and I'm pulling numbers out of the thin air here. If you have an 88 ability on your character that does typically 1,000 base damage, but now you're being scaled back because you're running a level 25 instance, still having the ability, but them pulling the stats down so that it only does 200 damage instead of that 1,000. Totally cool with that. Love a feature that does that and allows you to play with players that are coming up. I would totally be in favor of that over the way like something like Final Fantasy does it, where they rob you of abilities you've earned.
Kiggles, what do you think on this subject?
Yeah, that's great. You know, oh, wonderful. You can go down. It's not the same. Okay, let's get real here. It's not the same as the first time you ran it with the... You have... One, you're going to have trinkets that are better, even with the procs if you're 90. It's going to happen. You're going to have better, even if it's all the things are scaled down to that level, you're still going to have better gear. It's going to be better gear. It's going to be better abilities. It's going to be better trinkets. You're going to know it. So it's not the same. I don't know why all these people are just clamoring, oh, vanilla was so great. No, it was a bitch, okay? Vanilla was a bitch. It was a bitch, and I loved it. But it's not going to ever be vanilla again.
But people need to get the fuck over it. I don't see that as the intent. The intent, to me, is not trying to recreate the experience of the first time you ran these. The intent is to give you the ability to play with other people or experience older content. And it may not be the most challenging thing in the world, but it's not a steamrolled, needless run where you pull everything, kill it, and you're done. I think it's a different purpose here.
I'm right down the middle.
So then level a character with them. The recruit a friend that they're talking about, you get 3 times a level like experience bonus. You can teleport your friends to it. So level the character with them. Immerse yourself in the game if you're going to do it like that, and that's great.
Did you just tell me to immerse myself in a game I've immersed myself in on 4 different alts that are 90?
Yeah.
Some people don't want to play through the game leveling experience again. That's why a lot of people were so attracted to Guild Wars, was the fact that I could be a high level but go back and play with someone new and play on their level. The strange part is I'm honestly right down the middle of the road with you guys, because I'm in agreement with you both here, because ultimately I think it's a great feature. I think that, and I was really I didn't want to be vocal about this on Legendary because I know I'm going to come across negative personally about this, but as Byrne said, I think it's a great feature. I think that allowing people to go back and play with their friends at max level, or go back and experience content that they have, because Pat and Olivia brought up a really good point. You know, they were Wrath babies. They didn't get to experience the BC raids or the vanilla raids, and they think it would be fun to go back and experience that content for the first time. And I can see that, and I think that's great, and I think that that's there for those people that haven't gotten to use it. And the people who don't want to use it don't have to. Don't get me wrong. But as a player who's been playing since just before Burning Crusade launched, I have no desire to go run. And again, like I said, I get it. It's not for everyone. It's not for me. I don't have to complain, and I'm not saying the feature shouldn't be in there. But I personally see no attraction to going back and running Black Temple back in the day, because as Kiggles said, if you really ran it back in the day, you'll understand that it sucked. It was not fun. It was work. And it sucked to consistently have to deal with people fucking up and making the worst of the situation. The only reason I ever go back and run Black Temple is so that I can hopefully one day see a freaking Warglaive, and that's it. I don't want to deal with Shade of a Comma or Terran Gorfiend and having people mess up my raid again. I do not want to deal with that. And I get it. That's me. It's not marketed for me. And that's fine. I think it's a good feature for all the reasons Byrne said. but it literally, I agree with Kiggles. To me, it has absolutely no appeal. And I know a lot of players. I talked to someone specifically after Legendary who had been playing in the same era that I've been playing, and he said the same thing. He's just like, I don't get this feature. Like it's not for me. I would never go run that stuff. And we talked about it for a little bit. So I think it's great that they're implementing this for people. But I already said it. It's not for me. I'm not going to waste my time with it. It doesn't make me excited to go back and run Black Temple.
Basically, what you're saying is, give me my fucking Ashes of Alar. God damn it, Blizz. It's my fucking birthday.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. So get on it. Make that drop rate 100% when it's our
angriest dude ever, Kiggles, over an optional feature. For crying out loud.
I'm not saying it's not going to get used. And if it gets used, great. Then people can go, tickle each other's butts in fucking in Stratholme, whatever. I could give a shit.
Let's go ahead and throw it over to a Twitter question because I completely forgot to... Oh, it looks like we actually have a person on the line because we have an awesome producer who pays attention when I'm not. So let's go ahead and open up the lines and take another caller. Caller, you're on the line with Gamebreaker After Dark. Tell us your name, tell us where you're from, tell us your question.
Hey, Mike, it's Rich from Breckenridge.
Hey, Rich, how are you?
All right. Apparently not as raging as you are. I'm not
even really raging though about it because
I know, but it was passionate, man. It was all kinds of passionate. Your head was like, your vein was throbbing in the forehead, the whole thing.
Yeah. I hear you. What's up, Rich? How are you?
All right. I have one Warglaive. I've gone back there many, many times. I also have for Kiggles, just for your birthday, man. I have an Ashes of Alar, and I have been raiding that place
Can we dump this
since
caller?
BC to get it. So I've put in my time.
You jelly. What's up, Rich? What's your question?
Just thoughts on the new MMOs that are coming out and everything. When you see one, what is your deal breaker, and what is your deal maker? You look at it and you go, "Oh, that's a feature I could really get behind, and I really want to try that." Or you see something and you go, "Oh, hell no, get that away from me. That's poison."
I think I inhaled part of this wig.
You gotta put a lot of Aquanet on there, girl. You gotta keep it together.
I might be dying. I apologize.
I got this question. My deal maker is endgame content. At this point, if there's good endgame content, I'm playing it. Because that's the only reason I play is for the endgame content with the people that I play with. And my deal breaker is no endgame content.
It's tough. It's tough for me because based on what you just said there, I'm a lot more forgiving of games and features that I do or don't like based on the last part of that comment that you just said, who I have friends to play with. Because that's ultimately what keeps you engaged in a game, whether it's good or bad. Like,
exactly.
It's not even so much a feature of a game because like I said, I could pick up anything. I've had one person in my entire life that I've played almost every MMO online related game with. He and I have been friends since college, and we play all of the time. And it almost doesn't even matter what we're playing. We started playing. It was it was one of the ads, the banner ads that we had on Gamebreaker was called SD Gundam Capsule Fighter, and it was just the most hilariously awful browser-based game, but it was fun. And we're both anime fans. We both love Gundam Wing, and we ended up playing it for like 2 or 3 months. Ultimately, it always boils down to no matter how good or bad the gameplay is. For me, it's about who I'm playing with.
Yep. Like, why did I pick up League? It's because my friends were playing League. By the way, solo queue sucks. I just got ranked. Fuck solo queue.
Giggles, we can talk about how that sucks all the time, but you should go check out Instalock's video titled Solo Queue. It's it'll quell all of your pains about solo queue. Byrne, what about you? What do you think about playing with what's a deal breaker for you when you pick up and play a game?
If it's a MOBA.
So you're gonna play Blizzard All-Stars? We're getting a team together? You, me, and Kiggles?
I am going to give Blizzard All-Stars a try, but only because of my theory behind we talked about this on a previous show, that it's going to be like a MOBA Lite to cater to a bigger audience. So I'll be interested to try it out. All joking aside, a deal breaker for me in an MMO, particularly like an MMORPG, is a shitty story. If I'm not at least mildly interested in the story in the first few levels of gaining experience and things, I don't care anymore. And then an absolute deal maker is a great story with an IP that I like. Obviously, I'm a big Final Fantasy fan. I am a World of Warcraft fan. I just take extended breaks and listen to everybody else talk about it. I'm looking forward to Elder Scrolls, looking forward to WildStar. So get a compelling story, and I'm all yours. Even if the combat or this feature, the story makes up for it in my book.
I want that EQ next.
You heard it
I just
there.
keep reading about it. I'm gonna love that shit up. Yes, honey.
The way, Burn, you okay? You dying?
I'm fine for a minute or two. Halfway through that little like mini monologue I just gave, I was like, oh God, I need to stop. I don't know what's going on. There's a piece of hair stuck in my throat.
You really just gotta practice on that gag reflex. Never mind. Never mind.
God. Oh God. You heard it here. The way to Burn's heart is through good story. So
good story.
Any of you ladies out there. Let's move on. Let's take another caller. But before I do, I want to tell you guys a sponsor that helps make this show possible, helps keep the energy running so that we can continue to make content here for you guys at Gamebreaker. Shutterstock.com is a great service for anyone in the creative industry. It's a great tool to have in your content creator Swiss Army knife. I cannot tell you how much of an asset Shutterstock.com is to us here at Gamebreaker TV, not just the fact that they're a sponsor, because we use them every day in the images that we make, in the video content that we create as well. And it's a great service to use. If you guys haven't checked it out, you should do so by heading over to Shutterstock.com. And if you do, you can sign up for a free account and start using a feature that they like to call, it's kind of like a place where folders, but they're called light boxes. And these light boxes allow you to kind of start organizing any of the pictures that you find across Shutterstock.com and keep them available for when you're ready to make a purchase. So, we do a show that's called Coltrane Comments. We've got some pictures in here that we found that kind of are like fireplacey that we thought would be great for thumbnails along the way. And obviously you can tell right here's the one we ended up going with. But if we back up here, we have a whole bunch of different, logos and icons that we use on a consistent basis. GB Nation is a huge thing that we're trying to launch here at Gamebreaker. That's all about you guys. And they're totally, there's just a bunch of icons that we were looking for that to really kind of hit home to what would be the symbol for GB Nation. And, as you saw here, we tried using this fist at one point. We tried using this knight. But ultimately, we decided to go with this little dragon pack here that has 6 different dragons. And we went with the one on the far left, which I don't have the site open right now, but that's the icon that we decided to move forward with GB Nation. So I promise you guys, this is a great tool to have if you're a content creator, and you should check out Shutterstock.com. If you do so, head on over to Shutterstock.com. And if you're about to check out, if you find an image that you like, use the offer code Gamebreaker10. You'll receive 25% off your purchase. That way you don't have to necessarily pay the full price. Everybody gets a great deal, and you help support Gamebreaker itself. So please head on over and check out Shutterstock.com. Let's move on and continue with the show. Get to another caller.
Before we do that, my favorite Halloween show, speaking of Shutterstock, my favorite Halloween movie is Hocus Pocus. And in honor of that and Halloween, we have our final Photoshopped picture.
That's the final one. That's the last one I can hope for. I gotta say,
the last one.
The one on the left looks like it's legit me. Actually, all of them, except for the one on the far right, kind of looks like Chris Hanel. For those of you guys who know Chris Hanel, I think that it's not me, but kudos on the photoshopping there.
You make a very good Sarah Jessica Parker.
I do. I a very sexy one at that. I know. I'm sad that you didn't have the printouts of the ones that got tweeted out today, where I was the girl Timo with cleavage.
Oh, I have that one, yes, but I thought it was too risque after the wrecking ball.
Great. Well, I'm glad that's coming
Your
to an
tits
end.
looked amazing in that, by the way.
Happy Halloween, everyone. Let's go ahead and open up the lines and keep the show moving. Caller, you're on the line with Gamebreaker After Dark. Tell us your name. Tell us where you're from. Tell us your question.
Hey guys, it's Zista.
Oh, shit. There we go.
Oh, here we go.
No, I was Zista people. I'm not anymore.
I'll get to you in a second. Schaffner, what are you supposed to be for Halloween? A
I already
cheesecake
told you.
enthusiast?
No, I'm the Grinch of Halloween. This is what he looks like to a T. Actually, no. If I had my hair grown out still, I could just say I'm Cillian Murphy from Batman or Red Eye, if you guys have seen those movies. Because people say I look identical to Cillian Murphy. So that's what I'm going with. I'm Cillian Murphy if he cut his hair.
So Burn, I found out, is not only bad at games, but he's also bad at remembering things. He's accusing me of talking about Rift. I don't think I've ever spoken a word about Rift in my life.
Yeah, my tweets got a little screwed up there with the X's. I went to the wrong one. I apologize, sir. That was my fault.
So are you senile now? Is that
probably?
It's the hair.
That would explain why.
It's the hair. It's getting to him. It's getting to him.
What was there?
He's a young Betty White.
Kiggles, not early, but from the East Coast, we wish you a happy birthday. But for those of you who are not on the East Coast, today is the 25th anniversary of Sega Genesis.
Ooh. Sega!
So, it originally
Genesis.
came out, it was the Sega Mega Drive in Japan, but it didn't come out into the US for a year later. So for us here in the US, we actually didn't get it till next year. But there we go. Yeah. But I have a very fond memory. You know, I really wanted, all I wanted for Christmas was Sega Genesis. That's all I wanted. I told my parents it's the only thing I want for Christmas. I go and I open my Christmas gifts. I start with the biggest thing first, hoping, you know, it's Sega Genesis, and it's not. And I was pretty disappointed I didn't get it because that was the only thing that I really, really wanted. So I got some Super Nintendo games. I ended up getting dressed, you know, after opening the gifts, got ready to go to my grandparents and that kind of thing. And I had like 2 hours to kill. So I was like, I'm going to go downstairs. I'm going to go play one of the Super Nintendo games. So I went down to go play it. And there is the Sega Genesis all hooked up to the TV, ready to go with a little bow on it, Sonic the Hedgehog 2 in the system. It was like the best Christmas. I'll never forget that. So I have very, very fond memories of Sega Genesis. So my question to you guys is, what is your favorite Sega game?
I think I answered this already. It can't be a it's the stereotypical like Sega poster child of Sonic, but that was. I'm gonna reminisce here about my top games real quick. Sega, Sonic 2, Sonic 3. I didn't really play Sonic and Knuckles. Aladdin came out. That game was awesome. And
see, I played that for Super Nintendo.
It was
so
better
much better
for
on
the
the
Genesis.
Yeah, burn.
That game was. It's not even a debate, dude. And if you try to debate it, I'm never coming on this show again.
I've never played it on the Genesis. So I'm not gonna try and debate it. Okay, burn, chill.
All right,
NBA Jam. What was another good one? Primal Rage. Even though I never played Fighters ever again after playing that game.
My all-time favorite, I think, was Altered Beast.
Never even heard of that game.
What? You never heard of the arcade game? No. Wow.
Was I the only one who ever played Family Feud on the Genesis?
Yes.
No, I played that on the computer. Because I'm part of the PC Master Race, remember?
Not me. Console Master Race. What about you guys? Genesis, were you Genesis children or teenagers since you're all older than me? See how I did? See what I did there? See what I did?
Wow. I'm just console in general. But yes, Genesis, I've got like a bunch of titles that are right there at the top. Phantasy Star, obviously that series. Shining Force, another series, kind of tied up there at the top. Beyond Oasis is another one that I'm a big fan of. And then jumping ahead, it would probably be the like Phantasy Star Online's on the Dreamcast, which I got into for a little while. So, yep, those would be my guys.
I loved Phantasy Star Online. I never played. Can we talk about Dreamcast for a minute? That was an amazing
I loved
console.
Dreamcast.
Was that the start of Phantasy Star Online? Was Dreamcast or Genesis? Dreamcast.
No, Dreamcast. Dreamcast. The original Phantasy Star was just a RPG, like a Final Fantasy competitor, and then Phantasy Star Online was Sega Genesis / PC. And then later for the GameCube.
I didn't get it. Yeah, well, I didn't get involved with Phantasy Star Online until the Xbox, I believe, back in the day when that was a thing.
Kiggles, do you remember on the original Phantasy Star Online for the Dreamcast, the way trading worked? All you did was drop your item on the floor, and they would drop their item on the floor, and then you would run across and pick it up. So you'd go into like the global area and spam that you were looking for an item, and here's what you were going to give for it. You'd find somebody. You'd go into your own little instance of the ship, and you would both like, okay, we're both going to drop it on 3, guys. We're going to drop it on 3. You better drop the right item. You better drop the right item, because you would just drop whatever. Run across, pick up the item, and take off, zone out, and you never saw the person again. Now, they eventually fixed it, but that shit was amazing fun. You'd drop, like, 2 of the currency and go and pick up something and take off. Great game. Good time.
What a troll. What a troll.
Yeah.
Don't tell Ganon about that story, because that's like puts me on a griefer level, and Ganon's Ganon's not allowed to know I've ever done anything like that.
Ganon's in the room. You heard me call you a troll. Maybe he'll ask you about it later. Kiggles, what about you?
It was Dreamcast. I never played Genesis. I mean, I played Genesis. My friend had Genesis, so we played a lot of Sonic, and I forget other games, but I was mostly a Super Nintendo baby. But Dreamcast, my friend had that. We played a lot. There were a lot of good RPGs on Dreamcast. There was a lot of good games on Dreamcast. The controllers may have sucked a big D, but it was just all enjoyable to play on Dreamcast.
Well, happy birthday goes out there to Sega. You are in my hearts. I miss the Genesis. But God, has Sonic just gone to poop. Let's take another caller and move on now. Caller on the line with Gamebreaker After Dark. Tell us your name, tell us where you're from, tell us your question.
Hi, this is Squishy.
Hey.
From Canada.
Hey.
I don't know if you've heard of me before.
I have not.
Okay.
He's awake.
Well,
I hear you're into this thing called Hearthstone and might be a part of some Hearthstone shoutcasting tournaments.
What? Poor man's magic?
Yeah,
Here
I don't know.
we go.
I don't know if we know too much about that.
I don't know if we can speak too much about it, but I'm just going to let out one of the infamous Gary Gannon quick teases and then move on. So what's your question?
So, back when I started playing MMOs, my first MMO was Maple Story, if you can call that an MMO, which basically was nothing but grinding.
Mm-hmm.
And then now MMOs have seemed to be taking a turn towards leveling from quests. Do you think that grinding is kind of an outdated mechanic? Considering, I know recently I picked up Final Fantasy XIV, and from like 40 to 50, there's not enough quests to get you from level to level, and you have to start grinding fates or mobs. So I wanted to know what you thought.
Wait. Oh no, what Squishy, you didn't end up playing Tibia with me that one night. I think it was Lactarded and Shadow, correct? You were not a part of that?
I may have been a part of that.
Were you a part of that?
I was a part of that.
I just loved it. It was so much just worthless, awful, nothing but grind. It's so outdated. I would never put up with a game that's like that ever again. I'll play Tibia because it's fun, but maybe use a program that does all of the useless grinding for me. I cannot say that grinding.
No.
You heard
That's
it here
a
first.
no.
Captain, I will play that game with a freaking bot.
That's a no, Mr. Shaftnitz.
It totally is. It totally is. But that's the truth. Like, the game is a lot of fun. I enjoy playing it. But the mechanic of sitting there grinding, because the thing is it literally takes 24 to 48 hours of nothing but sitting there hitting mobs. And in Tibia, it's the most boring thing in the world. Like you don't even see like character animations. You just see blood splurting out. It's not the best game in the world. You pretty much
the worst game.
Sexy.
that was how I got into anime, was because I was able to play Tibia while watching anime. That's how little attention I had to playing Tibia. It's awful. It's an awful experience to have to sit there and grind for days to level up. And I think that ultimately, as we've gotten more and much better features implemented to a game to allow for progression outside of even just questing, grinding, doing nothing but going out and grinding on mobs has seen a massive decline. And I think the only place for it is in games. The one thing that I will say, here's why I like Tibia. Here's why I like the idea of going out and grinding for no reason, because there's a level of immersion that comes with a game where there's, the questing system or just the games where the point of it is to go out and grind and do nothing more than just kill monsters repetitively for hours. Because in Tibia, and this is what I want to see in MMOs nowadays, I want that feeling of like, there's this castle with just a whole bunch of really high level mobs. There's no real reason, like there's maybe a quest item that you can go find if you can get deep enough in the dungeon, but you're literally just grabbing your friend with the idea that we're going to go to this castle and we're going to fight endlessly for no reason for 4 or 5 hours. Because the evolution of the MMO has shifted away from grinding, no one in their right mind goes and does that anymore. But I think that there's something to be said there for the entertainment value and immersion of, I'm going to just jump in and log into a game and go kill things with my friends. Because that feeling did exist in Tibia, and I haven't felt that the same way since playing that game. So it's interesting. What do you guys think about grinding? Do you think that I'm right in that aspect, or are there other ways to motivate players to just go out in the community, go out in the game and explore areas and hunt for no reason?
You're dead on, baby. You are dead on. I don't see nothing wrong with a little bump and grind. There's nothing wrong with that.
Just ask Miley Cyrus.
Yes, there you go. I mean, I'm Final Fantasy 11, right? And that was the same thing, except not only did you, grind, but you stayed in the same spot and you did it. You got a party and you had somebody go and pull and come on back, and hopefully the tank wasn't AFK to pull the monster off of whoever was the puller, and you beat that monster down, go pull and get another one, and do it over and over and over and over and over and over again. And Final Fantasy 11, that was it. That's how you leveled. It's not so much that way in Final Fantasy XI anymore because of the changes they made, but that used to be, if you didn't get a party, you didn't progress for days until you got a party. That's what you needed to do. And you're dead on. I would still play a game like that if I had friends that wanted to play a game like that and hang out. And I don't think it's a shift away from grinding. I think it's the shift away from grinding is a byproduct of the shift towards more solo-friendly MMOs. And those two things don't really equate very well together. So, yeah, I would do it. Same reasons you would. If I had friends that wanted to do it, that's why I enjoyed it then. That's why I would enjoy it now.
Kiggles, what about you?
What you two are explaining is the last 2 to 3 levels of WoW Classic. Going from 57 to 30 in Silithus. Fuck that zone, okay?
57 to 30, you went backwards 20-some levels? Wow.
Wow!
That would be awful grinding, man.
I said 57
you were grinding
to 60!
You said 30.
Whatever. 57 to 60. In Silithus. All those group quests in there were so hard because you had to find 5 people who would do it. Well, 4 people plus you. And it was just, or you could grind, what is it? I forget what they are. The humans out there. The ones that drop the clothes and the tomes and pages. I forget what they were. It was, and you got rep for it, which I never did. Do you know what rep I'm talking about? Does anyone in chat know what rep I'm talking about?
Not off the top of my head.
Anyway, it was such a grind, but
here's what I'd say about that though, because you bring up Silithus, and I see Charum. A lot of them are like laughing at their like lol Silithus questing, and Silithus was so great because it was empty, and I agree with that, and I agree with where you're going with this. But do you think? I think that those types of areas, those types of features are what brought us together and to play MMOs. That's how you found friends to explore with and play with. And as Byrne said, as we get into more of a solo friendly environment with group tools and LFRs and all of these systems that are helping the individual play the game more, we're losing the ability to meet and connect with people online and learn to make friends that make the experience greater. I think. Would you guys agree?
I would.
Mm-hmm.
Preach on, chef.
But the other thing is back in vanilla or BC or whatever, before queues, you had to actually, oh my god, there was this thing called trade chat, and you had to spam it for looking for group for Sholomance, looking for group for Stratholme, blah, 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 blah. You actually had to communicate with people instead of queuing up for shit.
Okay, come on. Let's not go down this street and call spamming trade chat looking for a party communicating with people. It's annoying 98% of the people listening to it.
Okay, but listen.
That's
listen.
not.
No. Okay, that's fine. That's not communicating. But the thing is, you had to actively look for people. And if you found people, yes or no, if you found people who were competent enough that you would group with them again, you would friend them and then whisper them and go with them again. Yes or no?
Oh, you're absolutely right there. I mean, that's the whole premise behind a Final Fantasy XI static party. You know, you would find people that just you all clicked well, and then it turns into, hey, we're going to meet every Tuesday at 8 o'clock to go and do this. And a cool feature I think you might like that 14 is introducing is instead of using the duty finder, they're giving each server a board. Duty. They're giving each server a board that you can actually do exactly what you're talking about without spamming the world. This is the type of group I want to create. This is what I want to do with it, whether it's run things for cutscenes, run raids for practicing, hardcore, casual, whatever. Put your notes on what you want to do, and then only people on your server can go and check that board and say, hey, there's I want to do what Kiggles is recruiting for. Let me sign up, and we'll go and if we have fun, then we'll be part of a group that just keeps doing the same thing. I think that type of feature in a game is very, very good, but you don't see any of that in very many games. Once a queue is implemented, that's it.
And you know what that was? That was the WoW forums. Before queues came in and totally destroyed WoW forums, and now it's all just trolls and bitchers. I mean, there were trolls and bitchers also, but a lot of it was looking for people to do things with and looking for guilds, and that's how I found my first guild, was WoW forums.
Sometimes that's all you need. Let's move on. I don't want to. I think it's great. Just for the record, I just want to say you guys have spent the last 5 minutes or so talking about the good old days of video games. It wasn't this guy. It wasn't this guy. I baited you into that.
I was doing my best Mike Shaft
We all got
impression.
baited into that conversation by 5 minutes on Tibia.
So real quick, we got one last caller that we want to get to, but before we move on, I want to tell you guys about a service that you guys haven't heard from us in a very long time, the good old Netflix.com. If you guys have not checked out Netflix, you should definitely do so because they've got some great shows for you to watch on Netflix.com. When we first started talking about Netflix and informing you guys to go watch it, Gary talked a lot about Breaking Bad, and I rolled my eyes every single time that he brought up Breaking Bad because I hadn't watched a single episode. Now, about a month ago, Breaking Bad has finished, and it's no longer on the air. And all I gotta say is, you guys, if you have not seen Breaking Bad, go check it out. I don't want to sit and say it's the best television show since The Wire, but it's really, really good, and you guys should go watch it because you can actually catch all of Breaking Bad's season 1 through 5 Now, it doesn't have the second half of season 5, but you can watch all of the episodes up until the first half of season 5 right now for instant streaming. And it's the best way to watch television because you don't have to deal with commercials. You don't have to deal with waiting. You know, when you're watching this show on AMC, you had to wait a week. You had to wait months at the end of a season. And now they're giving you all 5 seasons. Well, I guess 5.5 seasons available right now for download for instant streaming. And if you guys head over to netflix.com/GameBreakerTV, you can sign up for a free trial, free 30 days, and get started right now. So check it out, netflix.com/GameBreakerTV. Let's move on to the final caller here and wrap the show up. So caller, you're on the line with Gamebreaker After Dark. Tell us your name, tell us where you're from, tell us your question.
Happy birthday, Kiggles. Chatroom loves you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Incognito from the chat, and I'm from Britain.
How's it going?
Been calling. Doing good.
How's the storm?
Enjoying the morning. Oh, it sucks. It always sucks, but it's a storm every day. And it's raining.
What do you got for us this week?
Well, 2 questions. One short one for you, Mike Shafnut. One is, do you even like anything in the world?
Nothing.
I pretty much hate everything.
Nothing in the world. I like Honeycrisp apples. Those are really good. If you haven't tried those, I recommend those to everyone out there. Even better is Shock Top Honeycrisp beer. That's amazing as well.
You're 13.
Shh, don't tell my parents. Don't tell my parents.
It's like if it ain't tibia, I could screw off.
I love grinding. If it's not a 1993 game, fuck that shit.
Chat room's got a good suggestion. I like sugar. If it's candy, I'll eat it. Unless it's chocolate. And get that shit out of here.
Well,
So I
that's
like
obvious.
things. What's the other question?
Okay, so the main question is for Final Fantasy XIV. Whenever the PvP comes, which one of them you expect it to be? Battlegrounds, arenas, Black Rose Garden, WW from Guild Wars? We got so many ways we can go. Which one of them is going to be the first one?
Well, Burn, if I'm
Get
not
off my planet.
mistaken, Burn, I'm not mistaken, we are seeing the implementation of a very much arena-style match added. If I'm following XIV Waypoint correctly, we got teased just last week about the new arena system coming, correct?
Yep, 2.1, which will launch sometime forecasted between now and the end of the year, will include the Wolves Den, which is 4v4. Pre-mades will go against pre-mades. You can queue up randomly in the duty finder and get a get a group of 4 against 4. So yes, that's arena deathmatch combat. The next PvP feature you're going to see is Frontlines, which is going to be more. I hesitate to say like a realm versus realm, but it is a bigger type of combat. And you're likely going to see 3 factions in there, 1 for each of the 3 major city-states. My prediction is it's all... I just don't have a lot of hope for it being implemented very well with the style of combat that the game has. And I would rather they didn't implement it if it's going to not be good, but they're going to put it in.
Kiggles, what about you? Is there anything... We'll kind of field this to the future. Is there anything that you would like to see from other games implemented into XIV Reborn?
Better PvP than WoW would be great.
Oh,
That's
That's
a
so
low bar,
easy. That's so easy
Yeah,
to
that's-
say, though. That's
That's
so
a low
broad.
bar.
Like, I want to see better PvP and better rating. Like, that's a rough one. I don't know. I think that
You might just... I would just like a helping of better game. Just get a helping of better game and put it in there, and I'd be happy.
would you guys be happy now that we've seen it, now that we've played it, and I think the mystique has worn off about it. Would you guys like to see something like World vs. World implemented to XIV? Did that resonate with you when you in any of the time that you played Guild Wars?
See, but Guild Wars does it right. It fits the combat style in Guild Wars. I'm not generally a PvP guy to begin with. I do it for fun, and that's it. I'll never be a top-tier PvPer, and I admit that. But I don't hold a lot of hope for the PvP in 14, and I couldn't be a bigger 14 White Knight. You guys know that. And I don't hold a lot of hope for it, so I don't know. I would really just... No world, be world, be world, be art, be dub, VR, BGs. No.
Mr. Mike Byrne, you can follow him right down there at Mike Byrne. Be sure to catch him over on XIV Reborn, as well as freetoplay.tv, Gamebreaker.tv, writer of XIV Waypoint, just all over the place. So many
Happy
things.
Halloween. I love
So many
Halloween.
tabs.
Stay safe, gang.
And Mr. Zach Schultz, you can follow him right down there at the Zach Schultz, bringing in the flair and the bringing disco back, I guess we should say.
Baby, it never left, girl.
Oh, God. And check out my awesome Halloween costume. You guys can follow me right down here at Mike Schaffnitz. I pulled that off really well, especially that whole thing talking without moving my mouth. It's really cool. You guys should try it sometime. It's called ventriloquism. Be sure to catch After Dark, the live call-in show where you guys call in live and make the show happen each and every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. PDT. We can't make this show without you, so thank you to each and every single one of our callers that called in tonight. We will see you guys next week.